I want to do this real fast because we did this a while ago on Instagram when we talked about who can and who cannot take hormone therapy. If we can just, in a nutshell.
Let me tell you what the FDA has, and we all know, but the FDA has indicated that hormone therapy can be used for vasomotor symptoms, the genital urinary syndrome of menopause, the things that we talked about. It can be used for the prevention of osteoporosis, and it can and should be used for women who have either early or premature menopause. And early menopause means you're menopausal before age 45. Premature menopause means you're menopausal before the age 40. Those are the 4 indications for hormone therapy by the FDA. Now, they also give you some guidance on who can't, or what are the contraindications to taking hormone therapy. One is a personal history of breast cancer or an estrogen-dependent cancer like endometrial cancer. If you personally have had a heart attack or a stroke, if you have liver disease, because the oral medications are passed through and metabolized in the liver. And the 4th thing is undiagnosed vaginal bleeding.
Okay.
Because that's a sign, could be of endometrial cancer. So we need to know what that's about. That's it. Notice what's not on the list of contraindications: hypertension, obesity, smoking. A lot of things that we use to not give women hormone therapy are not in the contraindications. And I think that we can all agree that the FDA is amongst the most conservative organizations that will tell you, if they knew for a fact that you couldn't do it if you had these other things. But we are denying hormones to women who have a family history of breast cancer. We are denying hormones to women who have hypertension, even though that hypertension may be treated. We are denying migraines. Oh, you can't have it. It's not in there.
Why are we doing it? Why are we denying hormones to women who are asking for them or want to take them?
And I'll tell you why. And I think some of it is extrapolating some of the contraindications to birth control pills.
Okay.
To hormone therapy. You shouldn't smoke and take birth control pills, right?
Right.
But remember I told you that's 3 to 4 times the amount. Not true for hormone therapy. So we are, in addition to women not really seeking out and being afraid, then that's where this sort of gatekeeping comes in with physicians, because physicians are not offering because they are thinking that the same contraindications for MHT or HRT are the same ones for birth control pills, and they are not. So there are all these women who are out there who are not being treated, and there's no real data to support that. So when you look at the 4 reasons why they can't, and the other thing, I forgot, there was one more, and that was about blood clots. If you've had a blood clot in your legs or lungs. But even the breast cancer and the blood clot issue, we've come back and we've revisited that because that was all based on oral estrogen only.
Okay.
And we now know that there are other modes of delivery, such as a transdermal estrogen, that you can use that does not affect the blood clotting factors as much as oral. And you can also look at the issues with women who have had breast cancer and women who are breast cancer survivors who are years out from their diagnosis and are probably cured. Then that is a more nuanced conversation where women get to be involved in that conversation. It shouldn't ever be someone that tells you absolutely no, never. It's a matter of your quality of life, what your risk tolerance is, and what your treatment goals are.
And family history of breast cancer is not a reason to say.
It's not. I have 2 sisters with breast cancer, and that gives me not the slightest pause, because the other part of that study that never really got out there was that even if you took the Women's Health Initiative at face value, where there was a almost significant risk of, increased risk of breast cancer, there was no difference in the mortality rate. So even of the women who took hormone therapy, you are no more likely to die of it, whether you took it or you didn't take it. But here's the part that never got the press that it should have gotten, and that is for the women who took estrogen only in the Women's Health Initiative. The women who took estrogen only in that study, not only had a 23% decrease in the incidence of breast cancer, but they had a 40% decrease in the risk of dying if they took estrogen than if they did not, if they got breast cancer. Now that's huge.
It's huge.
That's huge. So you have to say that whatever the relationship with estrogen and breast cancer, it's complicated. It is not cut and dry.
Mm-mm.
And here is something that I think is that I have said before, and it's just come up again, and that is the relationship of alcohol and breast cancer. Now,
Talk about that relationship.
we make choices. Am I going to go have a glass of wine? Probably. But to know that, to give you an idea of how small the risk is,
Mm-hmm.
the increased risk of you contracting breast cancer on HRT is less, and that's estrogen and progestin, not
Mhm.
estrogen only,
Mhm.
is less than the increase in the risk of breast cancer of drinking 2 glasses of wine a day. It is less than the risk of being overweight. It is less than the risk of being physically inactive. So you can.
So what is going on?
You can put this any way you want. So this is
Spin how you
how I choose to rationalize that. I'm going to take my hormone therapy. I will exercise. I will make sure I get enough sleep. I will try not to be overweight if I can help it. And then I'm going to have a glass of wine. Okay. So,
I love you.
come on, there's got to be some joy in the world, right?
There has to be some joy in the world. How long can you stay on hormone therapy?
As long as you like.
Okay.
And let me say this, because there are some people that it makes more sense to stay on,
Mhm.
because what we do know about osteoporosis and the prevention of osteoporosis for women who are on hormone therapy, if you stop your hormone therapy, and they're used to, and I will put myself in this category, that we used to think that, okay, because of that, breast cancer thing,
Mhm.
you should probably only be on it no more than 5 or 10 years and then come off of it. Not true. But what you lose by coming off hormone therapy is all that bone density that you preserved while you were on hormone therapy. If you stop your hormones when you're 60 or 65 years old, you will start to lose that bone again. And within 5 years, you will be right back to where you would have been
Wow.
had you not taken it. So if one of the reasons that you are really taking hormone therapy is that you are concerned about your bone density and not fracturing your hip when you're 80, then you should continue it indefinitely.
And what about when you can start after you've hit menopause and then you heard about the study and were scared and didn't take it for 5 years. So you're 5 years out of your last period. Can you start hormone therapy?
Now, and again, this is data that we've got from the Women's Health Initiative. And of the few patients, and there were only about 10% or so that were actually in the 50 to 54 age range in the Women's Health Initiative. And they found that all those terrible things that we said, it didn't apply to those women. And so what we found is that for women, if you start hormone therapy before age 60, or within 10 years of a natural menopause, then all those bad things that we said are not true about breast cancer. And not only that, but there is some cardiac benefit if the earlier you started. So I think that there is no benefit. And this is why I tell women all the time, it's not like you're doing yourself a favor. You're like, I'm just going to hold out for as long as possible, and then I'm going to take it because I only have 5 years to take it. No, you take hormones. Actually, there's evidence that the earlier you started when you are experiencing symptoms, the better. And because there is no age limit on when you can stop, but you don't, why suffer for 2 or 3 years and then say,
and then get started. Okay.
But let me say this,
Yeah.
but I'll say one thing too, because this is where it requires a little bit of more conversation, because the question comes up, I missed the window.
10 years
I'm
passed.
62. Can I still take hormones? And again, I would say the answer to that is a qualified maybe. Because again, it depends on whether or not, again, what your treatment goals are. If you're 62 years old and you're still having hot flashes and not sleeping, then I would say provided you don't have any of those other contraindications that we talked about. Why not? Make sure that you are healthy enough to do it. But, again, just know, it gets back to like the leeches thing. Some of this stuff we know, and some of the stuff we just kind of think and made it up, or we've inferred.
Exactly.
But we don't know.
Exactly. And that's what I worry about, because I feel like sometimes we infer it and people get really confused.
Right.
Okay. I have to bring this up because you posted this on Instagram. Not Your Mom's Menopause. This is around 2001, I think, right before the women's
2001.
Before the Women's Health Initiative.
Dark hair.
But what I love about this is that you have been talking to women about all this article could have been written today. This article, you said the good news is that women have options to help them manage menopause today that their grandmothers and mothers didn't have a decade ago. This is the same conversation we're having.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that mind-boggling to you?
And we were talking about the onslaught of the baby boomers.
That's exactly right.
It's
the
baby
boomers. It's brand new to millions of female baby boomers experiencing what's known as the change of life. Sharon, Dr. Sharon Malone, you've been doing this for a long time and helped millions and millions of women, as you continue to do now.
Thank you. And you know what? And Tamsen, thank you for getting the word out and elevating this conversation. Otherwise, I'd still be sitting in my living room talking.
I don't think so.
To my best friend who I couldn't convince to take hormones.
We'll get her. We'll get her someday. If you want to leave women with one thing, and I know Grown Woman Talk, we touched a little bit about it, but I think the most important thing about that book is you didn't write a book about menopause. You wrote a book about women understanding that they had to advocate for themselves and take care of themselves and fight for themselves, and what they needed to know throughout the health span of their lives and be aware of in life in general. What is one thing you want to leave women with, or that's surprising you as you come up and talk to different communities of women around the country?
The one thing that I want women to understand is that you have more control over how you age and how you age healthfully than you think. Because I think that so much of us to sort of, seed that space that either someone's going to take care of us, or whatever outcome that I think is bad is something that's inevitable because, I have a family history of this or that. And I'm here to tell you, no, that is not true. And I think the more you know, the better advocate you can be for yourself, for your family. And I want women to not fear this next phase of life. We're almost spending my birthday together.
I know.
Again. I will be 66 years old.
I love it.
And, in a couple of weeks. And I want women to know that whatever you thought menopause was, or whatever you think 65 or 70 looks like, my God, Gayle King was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, for God's sake. We're out here, and you are out here being positive role models. So young women won't be in a position where they're thinking, oh my God, my life is over. No, we're here to tell them your life is just beginning. All you have to do is stay healthy enough such that you can take advantage of this great time of life.
You're so wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Here's what I know today. You cannot let anybody tell you your symptoms aren't real, or that they're just a part of life and aging, and that you don't know what's best for you. If your doctor says it's not a big deal, or all women go through this, you better go find yourself another doctor. Seriously. I have had so many conversations with Dr. Sharon Malone, and I learned something new every single time. I really hope this conversation was helpful to you and at least answered some of the basic questions about perimenopause and menopause, so you don't go into the stage of life afraid or feeling confused. I just want to thank you so much for listening. And if you like what we're doing, and I hope you do, give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcasts.